Hi everybody, this is Garlic from the future, in poor sound quality. So, Garlic in the past, when this podcast was originally recorded, said multiple stupid things. First he said, if the Buffalo Bills took the AFC East, that the Patriots would be the 3 seed. Obviously that's not the fucking case, they would be at best the 5 seed. So I misspoke there. And also, I talked about the locks and upsets being basically over this week if Kyle got 1 point. That's not true because there's still 8 points possible. So not only Kyle and T still in it, but plenty of people are still in it. Obviously, Kyle has a comfy lead, but I made the mistake of saying that it was almost over. I must have been drunk. I don't know what's wrong with me. I apologize. The segment start times down in the description below are going to be off by about 60 seconds, so if you're trying to skip around to a different segment, add 60 seconds to the time below. Thank you, I love you, I'm sorry I'm dumb. Now, here's the show.
Have clicked the record button, and here we go. Almost had a built-in fade out there. I wish I would have done that just a little bit faster. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of the lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined by the other lovely, hostess, Josh. He seems to be sleeping, so I'll just say hi to the folks for everyone tonight. Hi, guys. My name is Squashua, and
That's not what I sound like. Hi, folks.
Hey, you nailed it. HiddenOaksOverdose at gmail.com, Facebook.com/hoodpod, Anchor.fm/hoodpod. Send us your voicemails. We love getting those. You got to create an account. It's probably easiest if you just download the app. So it's kind of a hassle to set up, but once you're in there, whoo! I love the voicemails come flying. We got a couple this week, Josh. A little tease for the remainder of the show. A couple voicemails. I know. Segment start times down in the description below as always. Levi Oki illustration on Instagram. You're so beautiful. Josh, how you doing?
How you doing?
How did we get all the way around the world in rowing in a week?
Yeah, I got about halfway, then just turned around, so I didn't make it all the way around.
Why would you not just keep going? If you went exactly halfway, why would you not just complete the trip? Why would you turn around?
I got bored.
What? So you still rolled the exact same distance all the way back?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you're Garlic, are you just an idiot?
Please explain to me why I'm an idiot.
So you're rowing and You're looking at the odometer, and the numbers go up for every mile that you travel, right? Obviously, they're just going to keep going up if you keep going straight. So if you turn around, it's going to go back down.
So this is like a Ferris Bueller Days Off thing where you put the car in reverse and the miles start coming off the odometer kind of deal?
Well, I'm not saying it's not like that, but not like that, you know.
Did you have a stroke?
I sentenced.
Are you excited for Christmas?
Christmas, yeah.
Because we won't podcast again. We're thinking next Friday, so these people are going to be without us for about 10 days. Well, depending on when they listen, probably next Tuesday, but...
I guess, yeah. No, that's lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them indeed. What are you hoping for Santa? What are you hoping for from Santa this year?
World peace.
World peace? You think he'll get it?
No. So, another successful gift. I don't want, the world to have peace. I just want world peace to be non-existent.
Why do you want that?
Controversies.
Because why not? Speaking of controversies, Josh, we won't get into it at all. I just want to say it on the podcast in case I ever listen back to it. We are currently under impeachment watch. The House is going to vote probably within an hour whether or not to impeach the president.
Whoa.
Interesting times we live in, regardless of what side of the conflict you're on.
You said president? This isn't the Booger McFarland change.org campaign?
No, I'm talking about impeachment of Donald John Trump.
So it doesn't matter. Got it.
Yeah, essentially. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that because it's happening right now. It's an interesting thing.
How you doing, Gar?
Josh, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to Christmas. We're going to see Star Wars on Thanksgiving, on Christmas Day. I'm excited for that. I think we're going to go see it a little later. I think, Jordan said he's not free until after 7, and I think Jordan is one of 2 other people to say they can go, so...
Who else?
Nate. I think it's Jordan.
Yeah!
And Nate. The Star Wars bros are getting back. Jamie said no. I'm pretty sure Willie said no. Willie also has like a 6-month-old child, I think, 9-month child, something like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, probably understandable. But I'm excited for Christmas. I'll probably get a lump of coal because I've been naughty. But anyways, Josh, let's get into some hot takes. We have chit-chatted enough. Josh, what do you got for your hot take this week?
I think the Patriots are going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
So when you say they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs...
I mean, they don't get the bye.
Who is bouncing them?
I think they're going to lose out.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think that's possible because I think they play Miami week 17.
Hey, Fitzmagic is hot.
Well, I think they're going to get bounced out. I think the Ravens are going to lock down one of them.
Pretty sure Ravens already, yeah.
And then Buffalo, I think Buffalo's going to win out and take that second seed.
That would be intense. So they would probably be the 3rd seed, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So then they would get bounced by probably the Steelers, unless the Steelers implode.
Yep.
Ducky Hodges takes down the Tom Brady in Foxborough.
Flying V formation.
Can I buy my ticket right now?
You sure can.
World champion duck caller, soon to be world champion NFL player. That's incredible. All right, my hot take. I don't know. It depends. I mean, not a lot of people are going to care about this one, but I'm pretty sure Zimmer is going to block Stefanski from interviewing for other positions around the league. Because this team has not had stability in a while. We've gone through 4 offensive coordinators in 5 years, I'm pretty sure, with Zimmer. So that's not good. I think Zimmer wants Stefanski to stick around for another year. So Stefanski is going to be looking hot for some of these head coaching positions. I'm saying Zimmer's going to be like, no, guy. I gave you your chance. You're going to give me at least one more year. Little respect on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. Mob style. He's going to block him.
I don't think you're allowed to block if there's going to be a promotion in place, though.
Is that true?
I believe that's the case.
I guess I didn't know that was the case. I know the head coach can block interviews. I didn't know if there's stipulations.
Yeah, I think it's just for a lateral transfer. I don't think it's for promotional.
Why would Stefanski take an offensive coordinator job somewhere else?
Right.
That's not a promotion.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if he's interviewing for offensive coordinator of, say, Miami, then Zimmer could probably block it. But, yeah, I think head coaching jobs, they can't block, from what I understand.
Well, I don't understand any of that. So, Josh, I'll have to take you at your word. But who knows? All right, so those were the hot takes. Josh, let's talk about some tasty things. What do we got that's tasty this week in the Fan Tasty Zone? Ooh, he's got something this week, folks.
We've got a Surly Extra Citra Pale Ale, 12 FLOZs, ALC period by Vol 4.5 circle-circle. Small circles.
So last couple of weeks, you're saying you've been saving the cows. This week you had pasta for dinner. I saw you buttering some white bread. You're just not counting about the cows tonight, are you?
Oh, no. Today's my cheat year.
Your cheat year? 2019's your cheat year, or you're getting ready for 2020 to be the cheat year?
Getting ready for 2020. Got to get that digestive system right.
And, of course, strawberry Arnold Palmer.
Gross.
What? Have you ever even had one of these bad boys?
No, probably not. Anyways, key injuries. Championship rosters. As you can see, I took tons of notes after typing that part up.
You're doing really good.
I looked at your guys' rosters. We got into it a little bit more. I got into it a little bit more later on. I completely forgot about typing this up. Only injuries that I know of off the top of my head. Chris Godwin, not playing.
It's not official he's not playing, but he won't play.
He's not playing.
Josh Jacobs is officially out.
He is officially out now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, John Gruden in the presser today said Josh Jacobs out.
Well, last week had a hard time getting his shoulder pads off. I suggested he just leave him on all week, but apparently Gruden didn't get my carrier pigeon. So
my dad probably shot it down.
Probably. Damn it, range. But yeah, so other key injuries. I can't think of any other ones on your guys' rosters. You would know more than me, I'm sure. But
yeah, I
those are
can't
the
think of
two
any.
big names because they're big-time players.
And they're both on my team, conveniently. Sick, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely sick, dude.
Did you have any, I guess, fan mail? Brian times 2.
We got one for Brian last week after the show, and we got one from Brian this week leading into the show. So let's
Hang on, how many Love the Grums are we going to get? 2?
We got 2 emails, Josh. How many Love the Grums do you think we're going to get? You
3?
should... You got 2, 1 for each, Josh.
You've got mail.
Brian's not out here just handing them out. He's a conservative guy. There's no handouts in Brian's world, okay? All right, Here's from Brian last week. We were talking about the Pro Bowl during the Fantasy Zone last week. Brian says, I think you guys are onto something with the skills competition. You were probably too young to remember the show Superstars, but that would be cool for Pro Bowls. That would be cool. Okay, let me read this exactly. That would be cool for Pro Bowls, an unwatchable game. If there was a comma there, it would make more sense. There's not, Brian. Punctuation is important. Then he finishes it with love the grum.
Let's eat grandma. It's a phrase that I always see. Punctuation's important. Let's eat grandma.
Let's eat grandma.
Yep. All right.
An English teacher,
I think I do remember that Superstar show. I was quite young at the time, just a wee lad. But if I remember correctly, wasn't it like famous like celebrities and former athletes doing a bunch of different skills competitions in different various sports?
I have not seen the show Superstars. I know they currently do like skills shows. They've brought that back in the last 5 years of the Pro Bowl. They play dodgeball. That's usually like probably the top event. That isn't the game itself.
Yep. No, that's true. And what you consider the game a top event?
I mean, Josh, the ratings are a lot higher than you think they are because it is football in a week where there's not a single other football game. So
no, yeah, that is very true. And I think one year I remember like the Pro Bowl had like twice as many viewers than like the NHL on that day.
Right. I mean, I'll probably be watching it because there's nothing else on. Unless I'm playing Xbox with you guys, I'm sure I'll be watching the Pro Bowl myself.
Okay. What's his other email say?
His other email. All right, so we got to play the,
You've got mail.
Got to play the sounder. All right, so his other email. So, Josh, this one, you might have to leave the room. No Love the Grum in this one either, actually. So we only got one Love the Grum out of 2 Brian emails.
What?
All right, so here's the email, though. The subject line is Gordon. The email reads, so does this mean that Josh will not... I'm reading, Josh. Can you please be respectful? So does this mean that Josh will not talk this week about Josh Gordon being undefeated, or will Seattle now lose? That's it. No Love the Grum.
Well, Seattle lost to the Rams.
That's correct. So Josh Gordon, he was defeated and then got suspended. So it's like adding insult to injury almost.
Yeah, no, and I mentioned it briefly in a conversation we had the other day. It is sad. He's had plenty of chances. I believe his career is finally done. It's one of those what if stories. We'll probably see a 30 for 30 on it later. Sure. I did hear that part of the reason for his relapse into drugs and whatnot was because his brother had passed away the week before, and I'm guessing they were close, just based on some of the Reddit things that I had read and sources that I had seen, just because of how he was handling it emotionally. I did see that Seattle is planning on supporting him through his treatment and rehab process. So good on Seattle. All they have to do is get rid of the gum chomper, and I might actually like that organization.
The gum chomper's not that bad.
I know.
So that happened. I mean, we won't get into it. It is an unfortunate situation. I know, Josh, we've gone back and forth on whether or not it's true, and I haven't done any research myself, but the initial tweets that came out about it said he was suspended for substance abuse and PEDs, and I've seen follow-up Reddit posts saying that the team is currently no contact because one of the things was a PED violation, whether it was actually a performance-enhancing drug or just a masking agent. It kind of all falls into the same category. So, I mean, the dude did look fucking yoked this year. I don't know if you've seen Josh Gordon trying to keep up with DK Metcalf, probably. But.
I mean, he's looked yoked quite often. It's if you've seen pictures of him in the off seasons and
stuff, there's like a yoked, and this dude was.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'6", 240 pounds. He's not a little guy to begin with. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, it's surprising. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, 7th time's a charm.
7 times. Honestly, I won't say his career's over because he's just been around too often. I think this next CBA that'll be in effect next year, pretty sure they're going to take weed testing out of it. So if there's ever time for Gordon to shine, that'd be it.
There we go.
Him being an addict and probably, if he does it too much, that'd be too bad. But, if he can play while using it at a reasonable rate, then go for it.
All right. Can we get off the sad topic now and go to Walter's emails?
Walters didn't send an email, but he commented on the Facebook post. So here we go. Hold on, we'll play the You Got Mail for Walters.
You've got mail.
So he writes on the Facebook post, Aaron Rodgers voted to the Pro Bowl over Russell Wilson over Kirk Cousins? What a travesty. So, I mean, I don't know if he was voted over Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson definitely deserves to be in the Pro Bowl this year. So I'm not 100% sure what he means by that. But Aaron Rodgers being in the Pro Bowl, I mean, the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest. It's voted by the fans. It's voted by the league. So,
yeah, I mean, I listened to Locked On Packers today on the drive home. And the 2 Pro Bowlers that the Packers got, they're probably the 2 that haven't played up to their contract or their potential of previous years, David Bakhtiari and Aaron Rodgers. I know we talked about it being a popularity contest, and I definitely agreed that players like Wilson and even Kirk deserve it more. Rodgers, not being the world beater he was a few years back, 2014, I guess that's 5 years now. He's not the world beater he was way back then, but he's still only thrown 2 interceptions this year.
That's impressive.
And 20 plus touchdowns. He hasn't put up the 900 bajillion yards and big plays that you know him for, but he's still being efficient with the ball. Team's winning. So there is still some merit to it. It's just, there's more deserving players.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, the Pro Bowl is voted on by people and players, so it's basically name recognition. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, huge name recognition around the league at this point. He's been around a long time. Kirk Cousins only has name recognition for negative reasons, so people could say there's no such thing as bad PR. I guess in this specific scenario, when you're voting on people you want to see on TV, they're not going to vote for Kirk Cousins if they have a negative connotation with them in their head, whether it's rightfully deserved or not. So that's kind of the way she goes. The only other comment Walters left was, it's not about playing in the game. It's about the idiots who voted a player who is less deserving of the honor. So again, I mean, the Pro Bowl is cool. You know, players can get paid. They get paid for the game. Sometimes there's like contract incentives or whatever. But the Pro Bowl, like, I don't know. The Pro Bowl is super cool, but at the same time, I think the players themselves recognize that it's more. It's certainly less it's certainly less honorable than like the MVP or like one of the big NFL honors awards or like an All-Pro recognition. Like the Pro Bowl is cool, but of all the awards, it's probably the least cool, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I'm guessing Kirk will end up in the game just because the Vikes probably won't make the Super Bowl, and Rodgers, Breeze, or Wilson will either bow out or be in the Super Bowl. So Kirk Cousins is probably a high alternate for that game. So he'll probably end up playing. Teddy Bridgewater was a Pro Bowler 1 year, so I'm just saying anything's possible.
I mean, Teddy B.
Teddy Two Glow. All right, so let's move on. We've got a packed fan tasty zone today. So Josh, we've got
You've got voicemail.
Voicemail.
We've got a couple, but one of them we're not going to get to till later. But we've got, I haven't even listened to these. We've got a brand new caller. I'm not sure who it is. It came in from an anonymous Anchor account, so I don't know who sent it. But they sent in 2.
Walters.
So let's just start giving it a listen and see what we got here. You ready?
Sure.
Hey there, Scolger. This is Randall. Middle name's Cunning. Last name's Ham. I'm not the quarterback. My parents are just big fans of Vikings football. Skull! But my call is for Garlic. I don't want to listen to that cheesehead talk. If he talks after I hang up, I ain't listening anymore. But Garlic, I want to know if you think the Vikings are going to win by 40 or 50 points on Monday night. So, that's my first question. Second question, who's the best player in the NFL all time? A, Randy Moss. B, Adrian Peterson. Or C, all of the above. I don't want to hear nobody talk about no Packers in that conversation. Scolgers only. Let's go Vikings. Okay, this thing's saying I got 1 minute. That's bullshit. I'm going to call back. I'll be back.
Okay, so that was message number 1, and true to his word, I guess Mr. Randall Ham did call back. Let's finish it up.
Hey, Scolgers, Randall again. Stupid app cut me off after a minute. I guess I'll try and keep this one shorter. Anyways, Skull, as always. But here's my second question. Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, or Drew Brees? Gotta pick 3 and kill the other. I know what you're going to say. Kill Rodgers. No. I'm going to say kill Brees. Because I want to watch Kirk Cousins kill Rodgers on Monday Night Football. Skull!
That was a very impassioned caller, Josh.
I think we found Paul Allen's Anchor account.
You think you found Paul Allen's Anchor account? That's the man had a beautiful voice. I don't know if you were listening close there, but that man had there were some beautiful tones in there. He had a nice rhythm, a nice pace.
He'd like to elongate a lot of his words. It's as if he hasn't had any formal education, but I guess that's what happens when you grow up a Vikings fan.
Every skull was coming out as more of a skull, like a THKOL, a skull.
He probably had his mouth full of mayonnaise balls or something.
fried mayonnaise balls probably. So anyways, there's a lot to unpack there. What was it? Greatest player of all time, Randy Moss, Adrian Peterson, and all of the above. I won't go with the cliche, all of the above. I'll just say Moss. He's not the GOAT, but he's probably the most talented receiver to ever play, so much that Rodgers is the most talented quarterback, although he said he's going to kill me if I say something like that. But Vikings, are they going to win by 40 or 50 on Monday night? Vikings will probably win by 50 Monday night. The Packers suck. So, we're at home. Skol. Kirk Cousins has never won a game on Monday night, but, so what? And what was the last one? What was it? It was Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and what was you remember the fourth option off the top of your head?
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Okay, so we got to kill one of them. So there's Kirk, Drew. Obviously got to kill Aaron Rodgers. Get that guy to Green Bay. What do you think, Josh?
Am I allowed to talk, or is he going to stop listening?
No, he said if oh yeah, that's right. He said if that cheesehead talks after the phone call, he'll stop listening.
Well, I don't want a fan like him anyways. So,
oh, that's Randy Ham to you, buddy. You watch out for Randy.
I believe his name is Randall.
Yeah, Randy for short.
I guess.
I think that was my dad.
Oh, yeah, that was the range.
So, anyways, do you have any thoughts on Mr. Randy Ham's calls? Thoughts, questions?
I don't.
All right, well, that was first-time caller, Mr. Randy Ham. And so we actually have a discussion question, but we've already had a pretty packed Tasty Zone, so I'm going to skip that question. We can do it another time. We're moving on to the Week 15 home results, and Josh, let's fly through this one as well. What'd the Packers do?
Packers won. Started hot. Defense held up. It's been kind of the kind of similar all year, where they start off hot and then they just stall halfway through.
Vikings have had some games like that as well.
Yep, and it's one of those things, like there's a phrase, every year it seems like there's the RELAX, run the table.
Yep.
Skol Packers, that sort of thing.
The classic lines, yep.
Yep. This year it was said, I don't even know, it was middle of the season, 4 quarters, all gas, no break. They've done that maybe twice all season. It's just most of the games, it's 1.5 quarters, all gas, and then just kind of coast down a hill. They still win those games, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. But if there was like a 21-point lead going into halftime and they came out of it with a loss, then it might be time to pull over, change some tires, do pit stop, that sort of thing. But there's been a lack of consistency on offense, and first-year offense, definitely learning the system still, even 14, 15 weeks into it. So, I don't know. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I feel that. I watched the game as well on the second screen while I was playing some Xbox with T. The Cowboys, the Chicago Bears had a chance, didn't execute. They're certainly a lesser team than the Packers, so the better team won. The end. Moving on, Vikings game. Vikings beat the Chargers.
Woof.
39-10. And so, if you only watched the first half of this game, you'd be like, "What the hell? Beat them 39-10?" Because that game was close. We were kind of slow. We started hot, and then we were kind of slow the rest of the first half. And then right at the end of the first half, fumble 6. The game was over from there. The 7 turnovers in total. The Chargers really beat themselves more so than we beat them. And it's not a pretty sight. I hope that's not the nail in the coffin for Rivers' career in Los Angeles, because I love that man in a Bolt jersey, but that was a woof of a woof, if a woof ever did woof. Josh, did you watch any other games around the league this weekend?
No. I watched the Monday night game. I watched part of the Sunday night game, but yeah, for the most part, those were the big uns. So, how about you, Gar?
I was watching the Houston-Tennessee game because that game had a lot of fantasy implications for me. Houston ended up beating Tennessee 24-21. Tannehill looked like Miami Tannehill, as you pointed out in the first half of that game. Came back to have a great second half. It wasn't enough, though. They ended up falling to the Houston Texans and are probably going to lose the AFC South now, even though these teams meet again in Week 17. And I don't know, it just doesn't look good. They're probably going to miss the playoffs because of that loss. The Los Angeles Rams and the Dallas game. What the hell happened to the Rams? They look like the team to beat coming to the playoffs, coming for the Vikings 6th seed, and then just get stomped by a supposedly terrible Dallas team, 44-21.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like somebody was letting me know Cooper Kupp didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp fucking sucked. No, he doesn't suck, but he has not done a lot lately.
He got that garbage time touchdown at the end, and that kind of saved his fantasy relevance, I guess, for some people.
Not for me.
I was going to say, you said it was a bit too late. But yeah, overall, Robert Woods was a dud. I needed him to get, 2 more catches for 30 more yards, and I would have beat Derek in the Dynasty League, but no.
Poor baby. Last game I watched was Atlanta-San Fran. Atlanta upset San Fran. The game was kind of close, but San Fran, just like all their losses this year, they kind of lose at the end, and not necessarily a fluke play, but San Fran just keeps losing at the last second. Their defense can't hold necessarily, so that's not good.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, that was about it. I was all footballed out after that day.
All right, sounds good, Josh. Let's talk about next week. Our teams play each other, so this one should be quick as well.
Yeah. I started with the recap of Week 15, so do you want to do Week 16 preview?
Yeah. The Vikings play the Packers Monday night in what could end up being a pretty meaningless game, especially if the Rams lose. It is possible for the Vikings to take the division. Pretty unlikely, however. I know the Vikings, if they win, they're in the playoffs for sure. If the Rams end up losing earlier in the weekend, then this game really doesn't matter. The Vikings are in anyways. It's unlikely we take the 5th seed as well, just because right now it's going back and forth between Seattle and San Fran, and both those guys would take a tiebreaker if we had the same record. So, we're probably going to end up being in the 6th seed no matter what, unless some crazy things happen. But if we win, we're in. I know Zimmer's not the coach to care about, a meaningless game. He will coach to win that game. It just might, he might be missing Dalvin Cook or some other pieces like that. Like I said, winning the division's unlikely. It'd be cool, but pretty improbable. So while this is a cool divisional game, the result at the end probably won't mean that much.
Yeah, it is as right as you are. It is. It's a divisional matchup. These two teams don't like each other. You've mentioned it already. Cousins hasn't ever won on Monday. Green Bay's never won in U.S. Bank Stadium, so one of those streaks is going to end.
It's true.
It's going to be interesting to watch how the teams adjust. I think that Zimmer makes great defensive adjustments. I think that it's going to, we saw it in the first game. Packers came out hot. It didn't look like the defense knew what was going on. Then they made those adjustments. So we'll see if Green Bay learned from that and makes more adjustments on their end. The Green Bay defense, they're bad against the run, good against the pass, whereas Minnesota's good against the run, bad against the pass. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how those two defenses work against, they don't play each other necessarily, but it'll be interesting to see how the offenses work against one another. Minnesota has been known, or everybody says Minnesota's a running team, and that may be true the beginning half of the season, but the last half of the season, you've got to realize that they're more of a passing offense now.
They've had to be. The team's putting 7-8 guys in the box. They're saying you have to pass to beat us, so we have.
Yep, and that's fine. I think that Green Bay's matches up well against your guys' pass game. I don't think that I haven't seen them go up against too many play action passers. Kirk Cousins is really good at that. So it'll be interesting to see. Thielen's coming back from his injury, which, he played last week, but did he actually play in that blowout? It's one of those things.
He was on a limited snap count.
Yep. And so we'll see how he's healed up. But then it's I wrote down, can the average Joe's go into Globo Gym and come out with the division? So Packers have more to lose on this than the Vikings, because they'd much rather go in there, win this game to lock up the division than have to go into Detroit and risk looking like idiots losing to blow me.
That would be rough. All right, let's move on to the Tingles and Jingles. Are there any games around the league you're excited for this week, Josh? I know I've got a couple written down, but I don't know if you have anything in addition or if any of yours overlap with mine.
I actually like your middle. I like them all. I think the only one that I don't agree with as far as like a must-watch TV is Houston at Tampa Bay. It should still be a good game. I just don't want to watch, fans who won a lottery drawing play wide receiver for Tampa Bay. Buffalo, New England. Like I said, I think Buffalo is going to take the division. The Rams at San Fran. They need it. The Rams do, at least. But then San Fran also needs to come back and prove that they can stay as dominant as they had been. The big game of the week, Cincinnati at Miami. That's the one everyone's looking forward to. It's like taking 22 guys and watching them run around blindfolded. New Orleans at Tennessee, fantasy implications for them. or for me at least in some leagues, and you as well.
Yeah, for me and him.
And then Dallas at Philly. I loved your sigh, I guess.
Just because it's capitalize the I.
It's like this is for the division, yet it's the worst game on this list.
Well, I mean, it depends on what Dallas team we got, because we've seen Dallas have some great games. We've seen Dallas have some absolute stinkers. So, I mean, this is for the division. I think Philly needs to win another one to win the division, but if Dallas wins, they're in the playoffs they're a lock. So, Josh, you want to go over your Tingles Jingles clinch scenarios?
Yeah, so far in the AFC, we've had Baltimore, Kansas City, the Patriots, and the Bills all clinch. Houston can clinch with a win or a Pittsburgh/Tennessee loss. So one of those teams has to lose.
So just one of the others?
Yep.
Okay.
Clinched for the NFC, Nolans, Green Bay, San Fran, and Seattle.
So 2 weeks to go, we already have 4 teams decided on both sides.
Yep.
That's intense.
Week 16 clinches, Dallas with a win, and then Minnesota with a win or a Rams loss.
So, if I'm reading this correctly, 11 of 12 playoff spots could be locked by the time Week 17 rolls around.
Yes.
That's intense. I don't know if I like that or if I don't, because that means Week 17 is kind of meaningless at that point, unless there's seeding implications or draft position. But
I'm sure there's seeding. I mean, that's one of the ideas that I had for next week.
Definitely between San Fran and Seattle, that'll be huge. But
yeah, no, San Fran Seattle game is going to be huge because depending on how this week plays out, Green Bay could take that 1 seed, which would be extremely interesting.
Yeah, a lot could happen.
I'm just waiting for the if that were to happen, I'm waiting for the NFL subreddit. The referees got home field advantage.
It's getting gross. Anything else tingle in your jingle for this week upcoming, Josh?
No.
All right, you know what time? Well, fuck, I didn't write it down. You know what time it is, though. Now that I've deafened some people, locks and upsets. Kyle still up top. He's got 37 points. T in second, 33. Brian and Jalen at 32. It's still technically, it's not anybody's game. Kyle would have to lose out, and then T would have to tie him to take the thing. T would have to go double upsets twice. Kyle would have to get absolutely 0 points. If Kyle gets 1 point this week, this thing is over, folks. I guess I'll go through the rest. Then we got Nikita, Jesse, Walters, Jordan, Aaron, Josh, Brad, Derek, in that order. And then at the very bottom, playing for not last place, we have Garlic versus the Latvian Erics. We're both currently tied at the bottom with 24. Oh, I honestly don't care if I get dead last or not, because it really makes no difference. But there's a little pride in it for me and Eric's, because Eric's always sends me his stuff through a Facebook message weekly on Wednesday, and he brought that up. He's like, we're playing for last. He's like, all right, bring it on, motherfucker. So we'll see who ends up getting last.
I'm the worst around.
Always gonna let me make me down. What?
Oh my god! Should I call 911?
I think you should. There's a blood clot in my brain. All right, Josh, who do you like this week, even though you couldn't possibly win?
I have Buffalo upsetting New England.
Yep.
I've said it 3 times now. 3 times a charm. And the New York Giants upsetting Washington.
All right, and I'll go out of order here just to make sure I don't forget. Jamie came in on the Facebook post. We've been missing Jamie. She hits us back. She's got Miami over Cincinnati this week, so she has an interest in the Tank Bowl, and then she has Tennessee over New Orleans as the upset. And originally, I didn't have it upset. I just stole Jamie. So going right into my picks, I have Minnesota over Green Bay to get me not last place as my lock. Then I've got Tennessee over Nolans as my upset, because I need that to happen, because I need fantasy things to happen to beat Hammer. We'll get into that later. Josh, Eric's
has Green Bay over Minnesota as his second upset. He wants to double up points. And then he has Philly over Dallas, which I think is a pretty good pick.
All right, your lovely wife. Tampa Bay over Houston. Is that a lock? It's
an upset. It's an upset.
Well, put the fucking U in there, guy. All right, so she has 2 upsets, even though she can't win either. Houston, and then New York Giants over Washington as the other upset.
Is that it?
I mean, you can clearly see Walter's picks are right there next to your wife.
Oh. He has Baltimore over Cleveland as his lock. And then his upset is New York over Washington. Seems to be a common theme this week.
Very common. And again, literally no one could win but Kyle, or T could tie him. So I don't want to, tell people to not text in, but
don't text in. All right.
No, I mean, people probably like their where they're going to finish on the thing. So, anyways, moving on. Josh, what time is it?
Game time.
Josh, come. That's not what time it is.
It's fantasy fun time.
Ooh. You gonna throw the week on there?
Week 16.
Nailed it. All right, Josh, I'll give you my grain of salt to start. So I was in 5 semifinal games. I ended up losing 3 of them. One of them was a 2-weeker that started last week, or 2 weeks ago. But I ended up losing 3 of my 5 semifinal matchups. I won 2 of them. I'm going to be in 2 ships, playing for 3rd in the other 3. So we'll see. But I've got 2 championships this week, and we'll go over to my money counter because there's, I started off paying $430 for fantasy this year. So far, I've already guaranteed to win back $380 of it. So if I win no other dollar, I'm walking away only $50 in the hole. However, I could win a total of I could win almost $550 in addition if I win all my games this week. One of them goes into week 17, I guess. So I could be walking out heavy in the black. But, right now I almost broke even, so I'm feeling pretty good about my fantasy year.
Yeah. I had 2 first-round buys in the first round, so I went in after those and won both those games. No big deal.
Ladies.
I did lose in the Dynasty League, which is, I believe, how many years has this been around? 4?
I think it's the 4th year. Yeah.
I think that's my 4th year losing in the semis.
Sounds like someone just can't get over the hump, Josh.
Nope. But, I'll take 2 championships out of 5 leagues total. Guaranteed.
Well, you haven't taken the championship.
Well, I'll take 2 championship matchups, yeah. Victoria's Secret went in there, kind of crushed Katie. She did have Drew Brees and CMC, and so I was very nervous when Drew Brees started throwing touchdowns. But came out on top playing Ben now in the finals. The 2 teams that were at risk of not making the playoffs a couple weeks ago. Or a couple weeks before.
Mr. Ben.
Yep. And then in the Nikita's Family League, we are in the championship in that one. And so I won 1 side bet in the Victoria's Secret League. I could possibly walk out with $330. Yep, math. I can minimum win $330. My maximum win is $650.
Ooh, so
yeah. Okay, well, Vikings are terrible.
Thank you.
I played that on accident.
I agree.
For the record, that had not been played in like 3 weeks because you haven't turned your keyboard on in like 2-3 weeks.
It's on.
Well, I'm just letting you know that sounder had not been played in multiple weeks.
He has a bunch of losers in Minnesota.
That hurts my feelings.
So I'm guaranteed to come out on top. I spent $230 this year on fantasy. I'm sure Nikita's going to want half of the money if we win, or the money we win in her family league. But if she doesn't realize we won, then I don't have to give her any.
Isn't she like a co-owner? Can't she go in and see everything anyway?
Shh. Yeah, she actually is probably just as active in there as I am.
And you guys have a joint account, so doesn't it all go to the same place anyways?
Yeah, it does.
You didn't really think that through, did you?
Yep.
Just take the cash and head for the border.
Yep. No, I could definitely live off $600.
I think you could.
Especially in Canada. I'd be the richest man alive.
With that beard? I mean, no one would recognize you. You'd be invisible.
Right?
You'd blend in with the meese.
All right. So weekly locks and upsets are done. So studs and duds is what we're moving on to.
Well, correct. We're already in fantasy fun time. It looks like you have no top performers of the week. We're just skipping that.
I think everybody sucked.
No one got any fantasy points last week.
No.
Everyone was tied.
I mean, I was going to write them all out, and then I got busy doing the championship roster breakdown and completely forgot about the top performers of the week. I can tell you off the top of my head, Drew Brees had a good week.
Jameis Winston had a big week.
Lamar Jackson had a decent week. And then we can also talk about running back. CMC had a solid week.
Sure did.
He might not have been a top running back, but Kenyon Drake, had an okay week.
Had a big week. I can tell you Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, terrible weeks. Definitely killed one of my semifinals. That was not cool.
Doesn't help that Dalvin got hurt. Derrick Henry, yeah.
Derrick Henry, yeah.
Mike Boone.
Boone put up 2 tutters.
But he wasn't in the top 3, but he still had a solid week.
Yeah,
wide
probably
receivers,
like 15 points.
Wide receivers.
Michael Thomas has a big week every week. So
yeah,
I'm sure
A.J. Brown had a solid week.
A.J. Brown's up there a lot recently.
Tyreek Hill had 2 touchdowns in a snowstorm.
There you go.
But yeah, wide and tight ends. Kittle had every single target in the San Fran game.
That's worthy of top performer, whether it's real or not.
Yeah, Mark Andrews had a touchdown. You had that not controversial, but you had that question for T and I.
Yep, Doyle or Andrews.
Yep, and I didn't see Doyle's stat line. Did he get much?
He didn't get a significant amount, no. It was definitely less than Andrews.
Would Andrews have gotten you the win in that league?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I guess I didn't talk about it with a grain of salt, but in my 3 losses, only one of them I could have tinkered to even close to being winning, and I would have won, but it would have had to be like 3 different players from my bench. The other 2 I got completely blown out. No lineup I would have had would have been there. So
gotcha.
I just got beat bad.
All right, so let's go to studs and duds.
Studs and duds. Last week I had Raheem Mostert as the stud. He got 0.1 less than his projection, so pretty much right on par. Mahomes is the dud. He got 4 over his projection, so I had a bad week, negative 4.2.
Keenan Allen was my stud. He's projected 13.7. He put up 19. CMC was my dud. He was projected 27.3. He put up 37.5. So I finished with a negative 5.
Guess who's back into second, nerd?
Yeah. We got 2 weeks left.
Bring it on. Fuckface. Eric's. He had Jarvis Landry, projected 15.5 as a stud, only got 7.3. That's negative 8.2 right there. Cooper Kupp as the dud. He was projected 12.1, ended up getting that last second touchdown that gave him over his projection. Overall, Eric's was negative 12.2 on the week. Dude is dead last, will not be touched.
Nikita had Madison as her stud. He ended up not playing, and she didn't change it, and so she got net zero there.
Did you give her the option to change it? Because I texted you about it.
You did.
Did you bring it to her attention in any way?
I did not.
Okay, so she didn't have a chance to change it.
No, she did not.
Right.
But she had Thielen as her dud. He was projected 16. He got 6. So she got technically 9.8 positive points. So she still finished positive this week.
Yeah, she had a great week. Walters had Jimmy G as the stud, projected 18.3. Only got 12.6. Sorry, Walters. Negative 5.7 there. Devonta Freeman as the dud, projected 13.3. Only got 7.5, so that was good. Walters, after going negative 0.1 last week, had to undo all that and went a positive 0.1 this week. So Walters, congrats. You've canceled out your last week, but you're still negative.
Brian had Patty Mahomes with 18.6, put up 22.7, and then his dud was Kittle, projected 16.3. He had 16 catches alone, I think, for
that's what you get, fucking
26.4.
Picking my guy
negative 10 differential, so he had negative 6 on the week. Who'd you got this week, Gar?
I got A.J. Brown as my stud. I'm going the full, I don't know who does it, but I'm picking guys on my team and a guy on the other team. A.J. Brown's on my team. He's projected 13.1. I'm going to need him to put up 50 this week, so hopefully he does. Kenyon Drake is my dud. The dude's been lighting up. Got a tougher matchup against Seattle. Seattle needs to get up early for Kenyon to be shut down. He's projected 14.6. I'm hoping he gets negative 20.
I have John Ross as my stud. He's projected 7.9. He's coming back. He came back off of IR a couple weeks ago, and I think he's going to get go back in stride. Did you just change?
No, I noticed that. Sorry, continue.
And then my dud is Dalvin Cook. He's projected 22.2, but if he doesn't play, then it's Leonard Fournette. 18.8 is his projection.
Here's Gerby's going to join us in a second.
Yeah, okay, well, Vikings are terrible.
That soundbite is invincible. Doesn't matter what I'm clicked on, what I'm clicked off of, it plays no matter what every time. Nikita, Lamar Jackson as a stud. The dude is projected as high as 25.8. Might not even play, but that's her stud. Her dud is Zeke. 20.1 is the projection. They're playing a stingier Eagles run defense, so we'll see.
Adam Thielen is Walter's stud. He's projected 14.4, and his dud is Aaron Jones, 15.5. It seems like a little bit of a homerism.
Yeah, I would say Walter's told me he's so far out of it that he's just going full homer. So I was like, I respect it, buddy.
You know, I appreciate that because I really, really wanted Aaron Jones to put up 30 this week.
No bias in there at all?
Nope. None.
For your fantasy teams or your favorite NFL team?
Nope.
All right, cool.
Brian, I want to read Brian's.
Go for it.
Brian has Miko as his stud, projected at 400 pounds. And then his dud is Bradley, 1 IQ.
So just to confirm, so if Miko is a stud projection at 400 pounds, what makes her a stud? Gaining weight or losing weight at 400 pounds?
Well, with how she goes through boxes of Cheez-Its, we're going to go with gaining weight. And I'm just going to go ahead and type in the actual value at this point at 737.
So she's going to gain So you would take over every leaderboard if Miko gained 337 pounds. That would be a lot of points.
But Brad's IQ, Brad's IQ is set at 1.
So for him to be a dud, his IQ would have to be lower or negative, essentially.
Yes.
So you're saying Brad's going to come in at a lower IQ than 1.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So we have the IQ test ready to administer. And, I don't know what button it is, but you should push the 1.
The IQ test. Okay, hold on. I gotta. Josh, the real question is, do I know how to read? I don't think it's on. I think I took it off as a soundbite. We don't have the IQ test.
No, we do. It's the girder with the.
Oh, well, that's not an IQ test because we had.
It's Brad when he looks at the IQ test.
We had Brick Tamlin saying I have an IQ of 48. We used to have that one, but I can play this one.
I was checking the specs on the end line for the rotary girder. I'm retarded.
Well, there you have it, folks. Brad, after seeing the IQ test, thinks there's girders involved. We're just going to go ahead and mark him down as a negative 40.
So see, Brad, this is what happens when you don't put in your picks on time. We're just going to pick them for you and belittle your family. Do you want to type in IQ in the box so you don't forget what that 1 was? Just like you typed in pounds in the other one? Okay. All right. And then Jamie, she joined us for the locks and upset. She comes back at us with some studs and duds as well. Her husband still refuses to play. He is now in 3rd on the leaderboard, which we'll talk about in a sec. But Jamie has Devontae Parker this week of Miami Dolphins fame, projected 15 as the stud. OBJ as the dud, projected 12.5. Those are some good picks out of Jamie. I'm not saying she's going to win, or she's not going to have. Or I'm not going to say she's going to have a great week, but definitely could have a good week.
Yep, and we missed Eric's. Eric said the Steelers D because he doesn't know what the rules are. Projected 8.7.
Josh, why is that the rule? Why'd you make that the rule? Is because I picked a defense last year and it worked? You just didn't like that?
Yeah, well, I did say at the beginning of the year before we started all this.
You said it was a rule, but I never understood why.
Well, it's studs and dud players. You don't get to pick 11 guys. That's cheating.
But what if they're duds?
Well, who cares? Julian Edelman is his dud, 15.
Yeah, Eric's is in last place by a mile.
I think my main reason is because they're projected 8.7, and in our league, they start at 10.
You said I couldn't do kickers either, and kickers are just one guy.
Okay, kickers I guess you can do. For the last 2 weeks, you can do kickers. Do you want to change your pick, Gar?
Not this second, but you better fucking... No, I'm not going to. For week 17, I'm going to have a kicker. You better goddamn believe it.
All right, sounds grand.
All right, sorry,
so going over to the scoreboard... I didn't miss him. You did. Going over to the scoreboard, we have Nikita in the lead with 43.6. She is running away with this. Garlic, you're in second with 17.8. I'm in third with 17.2. Walter's negative 17.4. And then Eric's negative 53.9.
How's the weather down there, Josh? Can you hear me way down there? And then out of the core 5, Brian's still up top, pretty much untouchable at this point. He's got 79. Nikita's second on that one. Hammer dropped to 3rd. She is behind your wife by 0.2. So Hammer, all he would have to do is play, and he could probably come back in second if your wife has a bad week. But Hammer just refuses to give us the time of day, unless I ask him to leave a voicemail, which he did again. But fuck you, Hammer.
All right, week 15 results.
In the redraft league, that is.
Yeah.
I got
both my projections right.
Oh, congratulations! Do you wanna just walk right into breaking down the games, or?
No, I don't see a spot to break it down.
Where it says, oh, wow, Josh, did you delete that bullet? Just you son of a bitch! All right, so we had 2 semifinals matchups. We'll go over Willie and Hammer first. Willie had. Well, actually, we've talked about Hammer a lot already, so it's no surprise that Hammer upset Willie. I actually think he was projected more, but he was the lower seed. So anyways, Hammer beats Willie 137.5 to 105.5. Hammer was led by Kenyon Drake, who had almost 40 points, Jameis Winston, who had 33, and then Darren Waller, out of the big Waller brand, some would say, got him a solid 20 burger. I know Willie was let down by... Dalvin Cook, I don't know who else was on his team to even be notable, but his highest performer had 20 points, and it goes down from there. So overall, just kind of an underwhelming performance out of Willie. The other matchup...
Hammer didn't even play a defense.
Well, he took his defense out after he had the lead.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hammer had the lead going into Monday, so I pretty much called it at that point. I think he still had Will Lutz to play and the Steelers defense on Sunday night, and then they took out the Steelers to guarantee he didn't get negative 10,000 of the Steelers.
Well, yeah.
Anywho, I played my stupid little fucking dumb midget cousin T, and I kicked his ass. 162.1 was my score. His final score was 105.8. This guy called me out last week, and what does it matter if I pee sitting down? Is that a big deal? No, it's not, T, because I still kicked your ass while I was sitting down peeing, so suck it. It's the second week in a row I've scored over 160 points. No one else in these Hidden Oaks playoffs can even touch me. Anyways, Ezekiel Elliott got me 31, George Kittle 26, and then A.J. Brown 25.
Yeah, T, you suck. Tyler Higbee got you 23. That was a good pickup. Tyler Lockett got you 26, so that's great, but you suck.
T will not listen to this, but I enjoyed that little rant.
Yeah, T, you suck.
Get tucked in, nerd. And then for the consolation, Bradley lost and Nikita lost, so the final matchup will be Derek and Nate. That's all the recognition they deserve.
All right, championship lineups, y'all. So, as I mentioned earlier, I took some time today to go through and look at the starting lineups as they were set. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through them.
Josh, you break it down, man. I might be a little biased, so you're probably a better source than I.
So, I actually used and so I put down how many weeks or what weeks it was. So for quarterbacks, I decided to go back to when Ryan Tannehill took over as a starter. So it was since week 7. And that way both of them had a bye in there. Since week 7, Winston has been quarterback 2 with 23.5 points per game. He's down to scrubs at wide receiver, though, but it's an easy matchup against the 30th ranked pass defense in Washington. Ryan Tannehill has been is QB4 since week 7 with 23 points per game, so just a half point less. It's a solid matchup in a pass-heavy game. They're playing New Orleans, who has the 21st ranked pass defense, but they do have Marshawn Lattimore, who has shut down his last few opponents. For the skill positions or the remaining positions, unless otherwise noted, it was from week 11 on. And so from week 11 on, Alvin Kamara, 15 points per game, but he has 0 touchdowns. So that's still solid outcome for 0 touchdown games.
But they're playing a stout Tennessee team this week, so he's probably going to have 0 points if I had to guess.
But yeah, it's against a 20th ranked run defense.
Stout, like I said.
And so it'll be interesting to see what they do there, especially since they have the playoffs on lock. Ezekiel Elliott, he's been RB2 since week 11. He's with 22 points per game.
That's my guy.
He's been very consistent, but they're going up against top 10 run D, so not the ideal matchup. Kenyon Drake for Hammer, RB15 since week 11 with 17.6 points per game. Without last week's 40-point game, he would have been RB38, so it more than doubled his ranking. So he's still not.
Kenyon Drake blows.
Yep. Josh Jacobs, as we talked about, he's out already, but at the time he wasn't.
So DeAndre Hopkins is filling in for him. Or DeAndre Washington, excuse me.
Yep. And so, but Josh Jacobs is RB33 with only 10 points per game since week 11. That's your guy. AJ has Amari Cooper at Philly, who's wide receiver 47 since week 11, 9.3 points per game. He had a 0 and a 2-point game in the last 5 weeks, but he has a chance to boom versus a 29th ranked Philadelphia defense. Going further down the list, on your roster, we have Christian Kirk, who is wide receiver 52, despite having a 10.6 points per game, so still higher than Cooper's, but there was a bye week in there.
It's Captain Kirk to you, buddy.
He needs more targets in order to perform. In his low games, he hasn't seen more than 6.
Shocking that a wide receiver needs more targets to perform.
And he should get them against the 20th ranked defense in Seattle, 20th ranked pass defense. Wide receiver for Hammer, Jarvis Landry, he's been wide receiver 10 over the last 5 weeks, 16.7 points per game. He had 25 points in week 4 against Baltimore, but he's coming off his lowest score since week 6. Likely playing catch up in a pass-heavy game plan if Baltimore needs to win to lock up that first seed. Wide receiver 7 since week 11, A.J. Brown, that's on your team.
Hell yeah, brother.
He's been getting 22.5 points per game. His low of 7.5. He has a low of 7.5 in the last 4 and a high of 33.6. He's going to draw a bad matchup if Marshawn Lattimore covers him, who's only allowed like 44 yards max to the last 3 wideouts he's played. But depends on what they can do on offense. It should be a pass-heavy game again. Hammer's tight end, Darren Waller. He's tight end 6 since week 11, 13.6 points per game. He is target heavy. He has yet to score below 7 points this year, but he has to go against the 9th best pass defense against tight ends. Your tight end, George Kittle, tight end 4 since week 11 with 18.4 points per game. Jimmy Garoppolo likes his butt and yet to score below 11 points at home, but the Los Angeles Rams are the 9th best versus tight ends. In the flex, Hammer has Mostert, or Mustard, RB11 since week 11 with 15.5 points per game. He's coming 4 straight games with a rushing touchdown and at least 11 points per week with split work amongst the other running backs.
Boo.
He has a decent matchup depending on which Los Angeles Rams team shows up, and it sounds like he's going to get the majority of the carries. You have Ronald Jones in the flex, who's RB 42 with 7.1 points per game. He's a boomer bust play with a low of 0.8 and a high of 22.6. With no wide receivers in the lineup at all, he might see some work.
You're damn right.
Defenses, over the last 3, Hammer has Pittsburgh at the New York Jets. They've been the number 5 defense in fantasy for the last 3 weeks, getting 10 points per game and going against a poopy Jets team. That is actually what my note says. Whereas your defense, Kansas City at Chicago, has been defense 4 over the last 3 with 11.7 points per game and facing Trubisky. Gross. Kickers, Hammer has the number 1 kicker in fantasy, but over the last 6, he's the 3rd ranked kicker with 12 points per game. So that's pretty solid for a kicker. 6 straight games in double digits. And then your kicker, the Badgerly.
Money Badger, please.
Yeah, sure. He is the 10th.
Trademarked.
He's the 10th ranked kicker over the last 6. 9 points per game. He has a low of 5 at home and a high of 15 at home. So those are the rosters. Absorb it, re-listen if you have to, and enjoy.
So currently, as it stands, so I've had to change my lineup, obviously, because Josh Jacobs is not playing. Hammer, a.k.a. AJ, is projected to beat me 126.5 to 118.5. So I'm projected to lose by 8. And Josh, I can tell you right now what's going to happen is I'm going to tinker myself to death because I have picked up DeAndre Washington. Like I said, he's playing for Josh Jacobs. I have picked up Justin Watson. Do you know who that is?
He is the 4th-string wide receiver rookie in Tampa Bay.
That is now 2nd-string wide receiver for Tampa Bay. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's him. And then I've picked up Mike Boone in case Dalvin doesn't play, but they don't play till Monday night, which that sucks. And the Tampa Bay guy plays at noon on Saturday. So fuck me, I'm going to have to decide that on Saturday. That's not cool. If Mike Boone doesn't play, what do I do? Fuck that. And then I've got the Broncos defense, who is playing against Detroit, a.k.a. Blau. Am I going to play that defense instead of the Kansas City Chiefs? I don't know. I'm going to think myself to death on this one. So that's how I'm going to lose. I guarantee it. I'll flax in to shoot myself.
You know how to avoid all of this stress and just manage your team in the best way possible so you don't have to worry about who does well and who doesn't? Bench everybody.
Just call it?
Just call it quits.
Should I text Hammer and be like, you know what? Out of all my available players, you can set my lineup. Should I Pete him? Let him set my lineup?
You should Pete him.
I've got Larry Fitz on the bench, Ronald Jones, Mike Boone, the Broncos D, and Mike Williams. Honestly, none of those guys are terrible.
I would drop Larry before you say anything, though.
Probably. I was thinking that exact same thing. Drop Larry and then let Hammer set my lineup.
Drop Larry and then pick up, like, Saquon.
Was Saquon dropped by somebody?
No.
I saw some little bitch in the league picked up Rashad Perryman. You want to talk about that, Josh, in your almost meaningless consolation matchup?
I'm going to drop him at 11:50 on Saturday.
You're what I would call a bit. I mean,
no, I put that in. I put that in thinking I could still win the consolation, and I was like, no, I can't. Because I can't get any money.
Yeah, you won't win any money. I did say for the loser or the winner's consolation bracket in the who made the playoffs to play because there might be a draft implication, but
yeah, no, he's in my flex, so
fuck you.
Scooped him up in a couple leagues actually.
All I'll say is I hate you. That's it. No questions asked.
Okay, sorry, but I'm I'm going to go ahead and do a bold take at the end of the end of this.
All right. Well, I was going to move us on. So Hammer blessed us. Well, first of all, I won't say Hammer blessed us last week because we got a voicemail from Hammer last week. Willie didn't send us a voicemail. Hammer won. Willie didn't. Coincidence? Probably fucking not. Anyways, let's remind people what Hammer sounded like last week. Kind of a virgin, coming off if I do say so myself.
Hello, Garlic and Josh. This is Big Wallerbrand, a.k.a. Mr. Hammer, calling in. Just wanted to wish Willie good luck in our fantasy football matchup. For me, it's really just a real honor to be in this position to play against the number one point getter for the regular season. I also want to wish good luck to Jameis Winston, who my entire fantasy season comes down to if he can perform with a broken hand or not. So, Willie, may the best man win.
So that was last week, and let's make one thing clear. We're ripping Hammer a lot right now. You and I love Hammer to death.
Absolutely.
So we both love Hammer a lot. We interpret that as a little political, and there's a lot of political ads going around, so we would know what political ads look like. It sounded like he was running for office in that one. We got one from Hammer this week. I asked him to come back until maybe a little more no holds barred. I mean, Hammer's not going to say go fuck yourself, loser, but this is what we got from Hammer this week. And Josh, after this, let's see kind of if this sways your decision for who to pick in the championship.
Well. I'm guessing after week 6, in which I started 1-5, that most people probably thought I had like a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs, let alone making it all the way to the championship game. But I never lost hope in myself. Just kept plugging away at it. Just keep tinkering with lineups, and you know what? Here I am at the end of the year in the championship game with Garlic. And you know what? I am here to win it. So I think I have like an 85% chance that I might win. So, and if my memory serves me right, I believe this is a rematch from the championship 2 years ago in which I won. So I'm 1-0 against championship games against you, Garlic. So best of luck to you, but I think I'm going to take it.
So just to point out, that is correct. This is a rematch. Hammer and I played each other in the championship exactly 2 years ago. This is Hammer's third appearance in the championship game in our league, which has existed since 2014. He first appeared as somewhere over the Dwayne Bowe. I have no idea what his team name was 2 years ago. I forgot to remember it. And then this year he's Big Wallerbrand. So big rematch, Josh. That was the voicemail we got. A little more personality. Obviously still very Hammer-esque. That's not a man who's going to get in my face unless I'm playing him in an ice rink. But what else do you want to say about the matchup?
So
Garlic wins. Thanks, Josh. Wow.
I do think that you have a decent chance even with all of the injuries. I think that Hammer has the better matchups for the most part. And with you losing Jacobs and Godwin. If you would have had just Godwin, I would have said you for sure. But without Godwin, I think it's going to be a close matchup. I do think, and before I was interrupted by the voicemails, I was going to say that because you were talking about Brashad Perriman and me picking him up and then you getting Watson, right?
Justin Watson, yep.
My bold prediction is Justin Watson outscores Brashad Perriman this week. That's my bold prediction.
He will be getting the second corner, so it's possible if Brashad shut down.
No, that is my take.
And Tampa Bay, who does Tampa Bay play again? They play. We literally just look out. Okay.
Houston.
They play Houston. Houston, terrible secondary this year.
Yep, and if you think about it, he has Winston in, so he throws it to your guy.
I know.
But I'm gonna go Hammer just because of the injury.
Oh, fuck. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty predictable. Hammer is projected to beat me by 8 right now. I agree. Hammer has some good lineups, or some good matchups this week, excuse me. Has a good lineup as well. Here's what I know, though. The last 2 weeks, I have scored 160 or above 160 points. Obviously, well above my projection. In those 2 weeks, you said missing Godwin, hurts. In those 2 weeks, out of my 160 performances, Godwin had 16 or 17 points respectively. So he was, at best, 11% of my 160 score. So obviously Godwin could put up 40 if he was in. He's not going to be there. He can't do that for me. But he hasn't been the reason I'm blowing people out. So all that is to say, obviously I'm taking myself. I'm not going to pick fucking Hammer to win the championship. That'd be stupid. I could win $200 more. Why would I not try and win? So, like I said, I'm probably going to end up tinkering myself to death. And with games starting Saturday, well, obviously there's the first game Saturday at noon. That blows because Tampa Bay is that game. So we'll have to see. I don't know what I'm going to do. But, Hammer will probably beat me. But I got to pick myself. 160 2 weeks in a row. A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, Zeke Elliott. You haven't let me down in the playoffs so far, so I'm going to ride or die with you. We'll see what happens. Anything else you want to say, Josh? You said you had one more thing to say. I don't know if that's what you just said or if you had a last thing to say.
I think that was it. Good luck, Ben, in our championship matchup.
Ben, a big listener of the Hood Pod?
Nope, but I know Walters isn't. Walters might say something in the group me chat that I said good luck. He has Lamar Jackson. I have Mark Ingram and Mark Andrews. So
all three of those players could not even play.
Exactly. But at the same time, on my bench I have Kareem Hunt. I have guys that I could fill in with Mark Ingram, and then tight end, I'll find a diamond in the rough.
There's got to be one out. Is O.J. Howard available right now?
Nope. I picked him up.
Well, I wouldn't play him. I'd play Cameron Brate, though, probably. The other Tampa Bay tight end.
I picked him up.
Just got all the Tampa Bay.
Our waivers haven't gotten through, so I haven't picked anyone up.
Your waivers haven't gone through? It's Wednesday.
They go through Thursday.
What kind of weird fucking league is Victoria's Secret?
I don't know. We had 2 free-for-all weeks.
That's even weirder. Just kidding. That's kind of cool, but sounds like a bitch to manage. Anyways, so Josh, those are all our thoughts about the championship game.
Yep, we got every single last one.
All right, so I'm just going to... So the third place game is obviously T versus Willie, the consolation matchup.
Willie, good luck. You won.
Possible. I mean, didn't... T upset Jamie. He could upset Willie. They're only playing for $50, a.k.a. their money back, but still want to set your lineup. And then Nate and Derek are playing for that consolation $25. Pretty much anyone who listens to the podcast is going to know to take the survey. We'll be talking about the survey, if not next week, the week after. We still have at least 2 more pods coming at you guys. We got one next week to kind of recap our season. We're going to do the hot takes retro. So I'm pretty much in the outro now, so I'm going to write down that segment start time. But we're going to have the hot takes retrospective coming for you. We'll have, studs and duds and locks and upsets per usual because there's still one more week in the NFL. And then another podcast after that, we're going to do our breakdown of all the teams in the league, just like we did before the season. So kind of what we predicted, where they ended up. And I'm sure we'll talk about, where we see the coaches going. We'll do that probably 2 weeks from now. So that'll be after Black Monday when a bunch of coaches get fired, or Black Tuesday or whatever it is. So we'll have plenty to talk about. The next 2 pods coming your way. So don't stop listening just yet.
Too late.
Oh, Josh, you stopped listening.
Yep. Bye, folks. Bye, Nikita. Love you.
Oh, that's cute. Josh, thank you for welcoming me into your home. Nikita, thank you as well. Ryan Walters, Eric Kesterix, Jamie, Hammer, Levi Oki, who I'm pretty sure doesn't listen anymore, Zach Wells, Brian K. Knoop, AJ Hammer, Brad Knoop, Jesse Morissette, Jordan Bates, Kyle Jevnogger, Trevor Leahy, and Randy Ham. We thank you so much for listening. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, Facebook.com/hoodpod, Anchor.fm/hoodpod. Those are all the places you can reach us. Everyone, have a great week. If you're in any fantasy championships, good luck, and I love you. Ooh, child.
Hey, I'm Ricky Bobby.
And I'm Cal Naughton Jr.
We form an alliance on the racetrack to win races. But today we're forming an alliance to talk to you about a very serious, important issue. packs of stray wild dogs that control most of the cities in North America. Remember, stray dogs are not your friend. However, if you see one, walk right up to it and lay down.
If it starts to sniff you, that's a good sign. If it begins to bite, you're in trouble, friend. Grab a pole.